Today, we're exploring how one man's uncertain beginnings shaped generations of lives.
You know what fascinates me about Dr. Foster James Flint's story? How someone could be so well documented in their later years, yet have such mystery in their early life.
That's exactly what makes this story so compelling. And I should mention this hits close to home since he was my grandfather. I remember him teaching me football in the front yard, always emphasizing fundamentals with phrases like keep your head up, keep your eyes on the ball.
Those words seem to carry extra weight now that we know his background. How did he end up becoming a Flint in the first place?
Well, it's quite a journey. He lived with his mother, Ruth Stoughton, and grandparents until he was about 2. Then Ruth married and left, and by age 7, his grandmother, Mary Stoughton, passed away. That's when Mary Jane Ahers, the widow of Dr. Omar Alpha Flint, entered the picture and posthumously secured the Flint name for him.
So he essentially went through a kind of unofficial foster care system, even though it wasn't called that back then?
Precisely. And what's remarkable is how he transformed those early experiences into a foundation for helping others. By the time I attended his retirement ceremony from the Bridgeville School District, he had spent over 40 years in education.
Tell me more about that ceremony. What stands out in your memory?
You know, it was my first plane ride, but what I remember most was his speech. So measured, so precise. No tears, no dramatic flourishes. Just this incredible command of the room. Looking back now, I understand why. He had spent his whole life learning exactly how to present himself in any situation.
That kind of self-control must have served him well in his athletic career too. I mean, being inducted into the St. Anselm's Athletics Hall of Fame is no small achievement.
Right? They called him Red Flint back then for his striking red hair. He captained their undefeated football team in 1932. But here's what's fascinating. There's this whole year in between that season and 1934 that just disappears from the record books.
And then in 1951, he started this interesting paper trail, requesting specific issues of the Montgomery County Sentinel. What was he looking for?
Well, the timing is crucial. He started requesting issues right after Irene Moore died. He was methodically building a case, tracking legal notices, estate announcements. Then came this series of attempts to meet with Dr. Lyon.
The correspondence about that is really telling, especially how he kept getting blocked by Martha Prettyman at every turn.
And when Lyon's lawyers finally responded, they went straight to the heart of it, suggesting that if Foster was trying to claim he was Lyon's son, it wouldn't matter anyway since Foster was already an adult.
That must have been devastating. How did your grandfather respond?
Well, there's this fascinating edit in his response letter. He initially wrote about how powerful the dollar sign has become, where moral obligations should supersede, but then crossed it out and simply wrote that he supposed a meeting wasn't possible.
That self-editing really speaks volumes about his character, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And there's this powerful photograph from his college football days that really captures who he was. He's in this 3-point stance, completely focused, ready to move forward. No smile, no performance, just pure readiness.
It sounds like he took that same approach to life. Always ready, always moving forward despite the obstacles.
That's exactly right. And you know what's really powerful? His school district that he retired from ended up naming a basketball gymnasium after him. He also established the Henlopen Athletic Conference, became this incredibly successful educator. He basically took all that uncertainty from his past and built a solid sense of belonging and community for others.
It's remarkable how some people can transform their hardest experiences into something that benefits others.
You know what's interesting? Even though he never got the answers he was looking for about his own past, he made absolutely sure to be that solid, dependable figure for future generations. He became the father and grandfather he wished he'd had.
That's quite a legacy. Not just the buildings with his name on them, but the impact he had on people's lives.
And maybe that's the real story here. How someone can take an uncertain beginning and turn it into a foundation of certainty for others. He didn't just survive the system. He mastered it and then used that mastery to help others find their way forward too.